Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Family Business Friday, our Zoom at Noon program on March 12th. Excited to see some of our friends of the program. We have, again, another great discussion today. And my name is Dale Caldwell. I'm a professor and executive director of the Fairleigh Dickinson University Rothman Institute of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We have Joe Giovannoli, founder and CEO of Seo. Hey, Joe, how are you?
How's it going? Yeah, thanks for having us.
Good. Yeah, I'm excited to have you. And John Hogan, owner of Blue Nail Roofing. Hi, John.
Good to see you, Dale.
As always, so happy. And I'm really excited because, you're going to be talking about a lot of stuff I don't know much about when it comes to digital marketing and other things. And the reality is most of the family and other businesses I work with don't know a lot about it. So I'm excited to learn some. But as always, I like to many of you have heard this before, but say, who is the Rothman Institute and what are we about? So we'll do a real quick 5 minutes on the Rothman Institute, where our mission is to support, promote, and research entrepreneurship with a special focus on family and veteran businesses. We're involved with a lot of different things, but our Family Business Alliance, where we've been the largest university in the area working with and supporting family businesses for 30 years. Student programs are really encouraging and working with students to grow entrepreneurship. I teach a course called Family Business Management every spring at FDU. Our Veterans Launching Ventures program, we'll talk a little bit more about helping veterans start their businesses. And we're really becoming advocates and writing policy and research and articles about entrepreneurship. We're also doing a lot of strategic planning with businesses, doing more and more with businesses in urban communities, and really starting some leadership, sales, and diversity training and executive certification programs. So we wouldn't exist without our sponsors. TD Bank Charitable Foundation has been a wonderful sponsor, as has Provident Bank, and the Commerce and Industry Association of New Jersey, led by Tony Russo, has been a partner, and he may be here later to give a Trenton update on what's going on. One of the things that we like to say is entrepreneurship is more important than ever, especially as we're trying to come out of this pandemic. I believe, and I've written an article about it, being a bridge to the political divide. We're so divided around this country, but entrepreneurship is something that I think everybody believes in. And so we're really trying to work to make sure public policy is supporting entrepreneurship. And I'm pleased to say we've gotten some legislation and working with Tim Sullivan and the Economic Development Authority to look at the establishment of entrepreneur zones throughout New Jersey to really focus on entrepreneurship in economically challenged communities. And so I'm chairing a working group on that program, which is exciting. We're very proud of our Family Business Week. We created this Family Business Week, encouraging people to celebrate family businesses every day, but on the fourth week in October to really have a special focus on family businesses. I do a TV show called Family Business World and just started a new one called Entrepreneur State of Mind. I see some of the folks in our audience who have been guests, and I'd love to have both of you on the show to really kind of celebrate and support family businesses. It's hard. Sue Slavin and Maura Panuski from the Rothman Institute, our team. It's hard to believe we've been doing these since March of last year, and I understand yesterday was really kind of the anniversary of the world finding out about the virus. So we've been so pleased that we have so many regular supporters watching the show. Our Veterans Launching Ventures program has become a national program where we have about 26 different states represented, a couple countries where we're helping veterans and their family members go through a 8-9-week course on starting their own business and making sure that it's successful. We have, and I would call attention to everybody, if you go to YouTube, our Rothman Institute of Entrepreneurship YouTube channel will have this video as well as the other videos. And so if you missed a show or other things, there's a lot of great information there. So we encourage you to check out our YouTube channel. And we are, in fact, we were just talking today about our New Jersey Family Business of the Year for 2021. In October, Laura Meshtaler from Black Swan Espresso was our new Family Business of the Year award. Our under 10 million in sales family business was Dennis McCullough from McCullough Contracting. And our over 10 million was Mike Seitel from Norwalt Design. we are always looking for nominations or at least information about family businesses that that we'd love to be considered for the prestigious award. So also we've written a lot of different articles. We're happy to send them out to anyone if anyone's interested to really talk about entrepreneurship, family businesses, and the way forward. So now I'm pleased to introduce John Hogan is going to talk through a few slides, and then Joe's going to introduce himself, and then I have a whole bunch of questions for them. So let me stop sharing this, and I will punch up. Let's see where yours. Okay, hold on a sec. Punch this up. So, John, if you want to start talking, let me punch this up through the screen.
No problem. My name's John Hogan. I'm the owner of Blue Nail Roofing and Siding. We're about 20 minutes from FDU Madison campus. We're here in Montville, Morris County. We're going to talk a lot about digital marketing. It's something that's really sparked, our business to be where we are today. We've worked a lot with Joe at Is Seo. He's going to talk a lot about what he does as well. As we bring it up. Dale, do you want me to share it on my end?
Yeah, I got it. Let me, I don't know why it didn't come up, but I got to punch it up again. It disappeared.
No problem.
Okay, there you go. Can you see it?
Yep, you got it. So
Okay.
as I mentioned, we do residential roofing and siding is our primary target market. We work locally here in Morris County primarily. We do span throughout New Jersey, but we really hyper focus on local community, building up community and things like that. So there's a lot of different lead generation sources when you think digital marketing. Digitally you could go online, you could buy leads from all these different sources, but in my opinion, they're very cold leads or low quality. The reason we work with Joe and Is Seo is we continue to build the brand, build equity in the community, and organically grow on our own. So we've kind of taken the opposite approach of, when you think contractors, typically you think of the stereotypical old school, write something down on a piece of paper or even a napkin. And, it's an industry that doesn't have a lot of trust around it. So we've kind of taken the whole different direction. We're extremely transparent. We post a lot of the things that we do. We take you behind the scenes on a lot of our projects. So we've kind of embraced the fact that we're more the next generation of contracting. We utilize drones a lot, which helps us keep our people safe and on the ground rather than climbing on your roof all the time and trying to find damage. It helps us, transparently show the homeowner that's standing there with us what's going on, help explain it through that. And on top of that, for marketing purposes, it's great for digital marketing. It's great for before and after pictures. We shoot a lot of high quality videos. We have an in-house marketing director that does a lot of video editing, and we really try to be as transparent as possible, just showcase everything that we do, who we are, and why we do it. And why we do it is really for the community. So our focus, like I said, is extremely hyper local, built around the community. We try to give back to our community every way that we can. The way that we look at it is every project that we do, we've donated a roof. I'll get into that. But outside of that, every project that we're doing, we're putting a roof over somebody's head. We're protecting that family. So every project to us is working for our neighbors. We're right here in the center of town. We're proud to be here, and we're proud to showcase everything that we do. So some of the things that we've done with the community that has kind of helped us on the digital end that I felt was worth mentioning is, for instance, last year when town started banning plastic bags at the grocery store, we started branding our own reusable bags. I actually have one underneath the desk here. So it looked like this. We started giving them out. We posted it on social media, just in some of the Facebook groups, saying, hey, you know, this is what we have. If we could help anybody, you know, it's free. Come and take it. We had so many people messaging us that like we had to leave boxes outside for after hours just to let people come and get them. It was a cool experience. It really digitally just kind of locally went viral. But it was a really good brand builder for us. It's to the point that we had people, you know, my wife would go to the grocery store and see other people with the same bag, the people that we didn't necessarily know. So we've done clothing drives. That was huge through our the Facebook groups as well. And then donating a roof, that was as a partnership with Habitat for Humanity. But I'll go into that later. Social media is really what it all comes back to for us. We do a lot on Facebook. Everything that I just talked about with the brand building and the things that we do in the community, everything is transparently posted throughout our social media, like our Facebook, our Instagram, LinkedIn, all those different things. The driver for us has really been recommendations in town groups. I'm sure many of you are part of whichever town you're living in. That local town group for, you know, people are asking for a plumber or a roofer, electrician, whatever it may be, and then they tag that company. We've grown significantly just organically through that by just delivering high quality services and having people recommend us. We do some radius ads. So when we're working at 123 Main Street, we'll tag that on Facebook, and we'll run a 1 mile radius around there, a video of us, you know, hey, we're working at 123 Main Street. You can see that we're doing the roof here. There was some rotted plywood because the ventilation was neglected. You know, if you have questions about that, we'd be happy to help you and get that out to, you know, the local area right surrounding there. And then retargeting is more of a higher level. I'm sure Joe could talk about this a little bit too. This is based on social media. Joe knows a lot more than I do, but it's basically, you know, you click to watch a video of us. We're explaining something to you. We're giving you value. Again, all of our videos that I talk about, it's us explaining something, being transparent, bringing you to a job site, explaining why things are wrong, what we're doing to correct it. We don't run any like, you know, the TV type of ads where it's, you know, click here and, you know, here's a deal or something like that. It's all about building value, educating the customer, educating the community. And retargeting works where if you click that one ad, you know, you watch 7 seconds, 15 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever it may be, then it recognizes you as someone who's interested in that field. And then the retargeting means that there's now a second video that you'll end up seeing, and it can go on in the chain. So I'll leave that for the expert to talk about rather than me. And last but not least is Nine Sale. So Nine Sale, Joe and I went to college together, so we've known each other before starting our businesses.
Where'd you go to college? Where'd you go to college?
This place called Fairleigh Dickinson.
All right, good stuff.
Maybe you've heard of it.
Good.
Yeah. So, Joe, I don't even remember who reached out to who, but I do remember us getting together, talking about our businesses, how we could help each other. So, next thing I know, all of a sudden, you know, you seem to have the same focus on construction as we did with digital marketing. You know, we started talking, we started doing some small business together. Next thing I know, we're going to Boston to roofing conferences, and, you know, it really, it took off, and we've built a lot of relationships in the industry. It's been really great. So Joe does a lot for us organically. You know, when you're Googling roofers near me and things like that, we just started doing some, you know, digital ads on Google, but we're more heavily reliant on our organic approach, you know, where we list on the actual Google rankings. And we've been featured by, you know, a lot of brands, big brands that we respect and the community respects: GAF, James Hardy, AZAC, Da Vinci. We've been in Pro Remodeler magazine. So all these things help us get backlinks, get more credibility, and continues to build the brand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good segue, John. Our kind of paths crossed here, really because, we knew each other from college, as John mentioned, but, his business had a reputation, the industry had a reputation of not really being technically savvy and not really doing a ton of online marketing, at least not to the level that, John and his team wanted to do. So, he kind of hit it right, spot on there that, not only are we, Nine Sale working on the organic side of their business, but also, helping them to create pieces of content that can be remarketed. If somebody reads an article, and then they go to Facebook or they go to Instagram, if that person meets a certain criteria, they get remarketed to because they've seen this piece of content and they've spent a certain amount of time on the content. So, John is very humble when it comes to talking about his marketing efforts, but they're pioneers. I think it's the best way to put it, especially in the roofing space. They are in New Jersey. They are one of those forces to be reckoned with, and they are one of those people that, when I mention, oh yeah, hey, I work with Blue Nail, everybody's like, oh my God, we love their, we check out their blogs and we look at their, social media and their Facebook. I spoke to a competitor of John's not too long ago. I won't mention who, but John is immediately a household name especially in the roofing space. So, we have had the pleasure of working with them over the last several years, and getting them to, helping them to grow, and they've, likewise, they've helped us as well. We've had a really great partnership over the years. Dale, do you want me to just briefly go into just my bio before we move forward?
Yeah. Why don't you do that? But I was going to say, you were going to say Joe hit John hit the nail on the head is what you want to say, but you didn't.
Yes.
You should have gone with it.
I was trying to save everybody the puns.
Joe, while he has it up, I'll quickly just touch on, like, these are some
Sure.
examples of the drone and some of the community things that we've done. The winter clothing donation, you can see the bottom right is me and Angelo trying to fit the boxes in the van. That's one of at least 6 trips that we made with the full packed van. So it was awesome to see how many people locally donated and got involved. It was really cool. You could see the drone fit videos and pictures up top. It's a cool perspective to have, especially in our market. So,
and the drone, John. So the drone, how do you use the drone? Just explain a little more about that. So on your website, you have just some drone pictures just around the roof that you've just finished.
Yeah, so we use the drones in a lot of different capacities. So we look at it as, number one, it's a safety thing for us. It keeps our guys, when we're doing estimates and things like that, keeps us safe on the ground. It also gives us a view that we won't see by just climbing up on the roof. I mean, the top down shot that you see up on the top left, and it's perfect for before and afters. People love to see their house, the way it looked before. Roofing is kind of underrated in curb appeal. Most people think of their siding as what reflects, the look of their house, but they're amazed to see, like, wow, my old roof versus what I have now. It really does make a difference. It statistically accounts for 40% of your curb appeal. So yeah, we do that. And then we do the after photos. We'll come out, we'll do drone videos, pictures. And yeah, we use it for the before and afters. We use it for marketing, but it's also for the homeowner. People like to brag and say, hey, check this out. I didn't have anybody else come to my house and offer me this service. So, and it's very transparent. We're happy to, a lot of roofs, you can't see what we actually did. We're happy to just display and show you exactly what we did.
Wonderful. That's great. Well, yeah, Joe, just talk a little bit about your background and your business.
Yeah, sure. So, we're a search marketing company. Nine Sale's a search marketing company. I started the company back in April of 2015, actually tax day of 2015. And, we started out as a more full service, marketing firm, website, social media, the whole nine. And, it was one of those things, and a great book that I always reference and I love is called Built to Sell by John Warrillow. And, I felt like I was kind of living the story in that book. We were doing a bunch of different things. We weren't loving doing websites. We weren't loving doing social media, but, SEO and paid search was just one of those things that, our clients were really happy with the results they were getting and what they were seeing. And, so we decided to effectively, about a year and a half in, completely pivot and go directly into search for law firms and construction companies. I always get the questions, so I'll answer that right out of the gate. Why those two industries? With search marketing and people finding you online, there's a few criteria, that we think about. We think about, okay, will this industry receive leads and receive business from people randomly searching online? And in both cases, roofing, siding, remodeling, exterior, interior. And then on the legal side, you name it. I mean, we have B2B law firms and we have B2C law firms that receive a lot of their business from the internet. So we check that box. And, it was something we were familiar with. I come from a family of a couple of lawyers. My uncles were lawyers, and my other uncle was an architect, and I had been around the construction space. I worked in a hardware store for 6 years of my working career. I was in high school and early into college. I worked at a hardware store, so I was very familiar with the spaces, so it was comfortable for me. But so SEO is organic search, which is what John talked about. People finding you, for keywords, right? So in John's case is, roofing company near me, roofing company Montville, roofing company Morris County, all of those types of keywords. In his case, the geographic piece of it is important. We could talk about this later on, and John can, go into why he picked the area that he picked, but for him, the closer the job is to him, the better off that they are, right? Because, they can have more jobs going at the same time and whatnot. So we love those local, people that are looking for more of the local leads. And John was a perfect fit for that. I do also want to mention, Dale, you're on mute. Dale, you're on mute.
One of the things I like to do for the audience is, some people don't know what SEO is. So I want to make sure I ask the questions, and no dumb questions, but yeah. So what is SEO? Just the basics of it, and then we'll get into some of the details.
Absolutely. Yeah. So SEO is essentially the practice of generating content and essentially following Google's best practices in order to optimize your website or your pieces of content to rank for specific keywords. And there's a lot that goes into that. So to give you the 10,000-foot view, we're identifying the right keywords. We're identifying keywords that are getting great volume, that have what we would call search intent, meaning that the person that's using that term is intending to take some sort of an action, right? Again, somebody using the term roofer near me or roofing company near me, chances are they're looking to have something done with their roof, and they're looking to make a phone call. So that would be a high intent keyword. So, we help our clients to identify those keywords, identify the types of content that we need to have them create, or we work with them to get created. Content being written content being video content. You can optimize all types of content on your website, using Google's best practices. So we spend a lot of our time with our clients, guiding them through these strategies, and then doing the things that John said that are more not on their website, like backlinking, right? So, we can reach out to a company like GAF and say, hey, we work with, John at Blue Nail. We saw this article on your website. We'd like to add to it, and we'd like for you to backlink to John's website. Can you do that? And a backlink is essentially a hyperlinked piece of text, also called anchor text, that points back to a specific page on John's website. And what that does is it tells Google that, hey, this is a great source of information. A really well-respected site is pointing to this. That gives him what's called authority. So we're in the business of building authority and building brands online through SEO.
And SEO is search engine optimization. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. And then there's also another term called SEM, search engine marketing, and that typically references paid search, right? So that is when you go on Google or Bing, you know, you'll see the ads at the three top spots at the top of a search that say ad next to them. Those are pay to play.
Yeah.
So it's PPC. John mentioned that a little bit earlier. They've been dabbling with some of that, you know, over the last year or so. But you know, PPC is more, if you stop paying, you stop showing up. It's pay to play. And it's more instant gratification than SEO, which typically takes anywhere from 6 to 9 months at the beginning to really build up and show how much results it can bring.
And just because I want to make sure we get the basics. So if I go on and I'm searching GoDaddy and I see there's a GoDaddy ad up here, but then there's no GoDaddy ad. So if I click on the one that's not a GoDaddy ad, that means Google doesn't get any money. Is that
correct? That means that they didn't pay for it, right? Exactly. Yep. So GoDaddy will love you for that. Google will not love you for that.
Right. Good. Okay, good. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I know people some of the people.
I actually wanted to mention, and then I'll turn it back over to you. You mentioned somebody that's really important to 9Sale as well, Makula Contracting. They are also a client of ours. They've been a client actually right around the same. I had to go back and look before this, but actually, John and Dennis became clients a month apart of 9Sale, and you know we're really proud of the accomplishments that Makula Contracting has you know accomplished with their digital marketing. You know, they have a lot of really cool things that we have dug into with them from a standpoint of lead generation, but content creation. For a very long time, if you search, and I'm not sure if it still is the case, but if you were sitting anywhere in New Jersey and you searched what is a French drain, Dennis's page and the blog that he actually created was the answer box, which the answer box on Google is when you can actually see the answer show up without having to click on a result. That's huge because a lot of people do click on that when they have a need, and we've seen correlation between the answer box, spot and leads actually coming through. In any given month for a 6-month period of time, he was getting anywhere from 100 to 125,000 impressions, which means that people actually saw that answer within Google. So impressions are huge. Yeah, I don't want to get too technical with that, but you mentioned Makula earlier, so I would be remiss if I didn't mention them.
Well, we give a shout out to Dennis. He's out there watching, and so he's obviously one of our favorite people, and he's been on the show. So yes. So it's good. It's good. There's such a great network of these family businesses and small businesses, and we're at Rothman trying to bring people together because really, as I said, this is the backbone of America. And so, so John, you're in a business, as you said, that it's not thought of as being technologically advanced, and so you really have taken it to the next level. Now tell about your focus, your geographic focus area. How did you pick that area, and tell a little bit about that?
So our focus of being local to Morris County, it just kind of lucked out. It happened kind of by accident, but this is exactly where we wanted to be. So I'm originally from Union County. Went to Fairleigh Dickinson, Madison campus. And then when my wife, Nina, who also went to Fairleigh Dickinson, we ended up getting engaged, moving up here, and getting married. So we determined that this is where we wanted to be. She grew up around here, and we've stayed here ever since. And things kind of just fell in place. But if I had my choice, knowing what I know now, I would have picked this exact spot anyway. It fits what we want to do. It fits who we want to be. There's a significant need for it right here in Morris County, especially in Montville. So
excellent. And so what are the longer term plans? So are you looking to buy some of you're doing so well and you're so successful? Are you looking to buy some other businesses? Are you looking to expand? Or I want the audience to kind of hear the entrepreneur's mindset.
Yeah, so the entrepreneurial mindset is you're never satisfied, right? It's never enough. We're going to continue growing. We're still a very young company. Like Joe and I talk all the time. We both want to do so much more and accomplish a lot more things. You know, we're good. We've done well for where we are, but we have a long way to go. We haven't really considered buying any companies or anything like that. So from our perspective, even hiring, we don't hire anybody typically from the industry. We hire from outside of the industry and then train them to operate how we want them to operate. Our method behind that and our thinking is that the construction industry is significantly flawed, and we don't want you to come in with bad habits and have a bad mindset of, you know, taking advantage of homeowners or anything like that. So we actually hire from outside. We have our own training program. We train from within, and we teach how to build value and how to do things the right way. So we're continuing growing. Joe and I meet about that. In terms of, you know, what we want to do with Google and how to grow. But for me, I'd prefer, although we have had rapid growth, I'd prefer more of a slow organic growth. We mentioned how we're dabbling in Google ads and things like that. Our mindset is not to buy leads. Our mindset is to supplement our organic growth by meeting some of these people through our paid ads, gets us into a bigger geographic radius, and us finding our ideal client, because it's not just them interviewing us, it's us interviewing them as well. We have to have a good fit and a good partnership there, because this is major construction. You know, things are going to happen along the way. We have to trust each other that we're going to work, you know, together on this. So when we find those ideal clients through the paid market, our goal is to nurture that relationship and build more organic leads off of that.
Yeah,
So-
you know, and
Joe?
yeah, what I was going to say is, you know, and John mentioned something important, and we feel the exact same way. We actually have what we call client core values, and they're 4 values that our clients have to live up to in order to actually be clients of ours. Because I'm a firm believer that it is a lot harder to find employees that you can train and that you can trust, and that, you know, will do what you're looking to do, and be a team player and be a part of the organization for a long time. It's harder to find them than it is to find clients. And, you know, that may sound a little shocking, and that may sound a little pretentious, but at the end of the day, our people are what we need to protect. You know, without John's people, you know, how is he going to get, you know, the roofs done for his clients? And, you know, from my perspective, my entire business is relationships with between clients and our digital strategists, who are essentially our production people. So, you know, we have these client core values that we live by, that, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, we have our core values that we hire and fire off of, right? So make dad proud, extreme ownership, always learn, and raise the bar. Those are our core values. You can ask anybody in our organization at any time what those core values are, and they'll be able to tell you what they are and why. But, you know, we look at, you know, our clients and that interview process of, you know, it's important for us to talk to a prospect to make sure, do we feel like they're going to be realistic in their expectations? Do we feel like they're going to respect their digital strategist? We've actually even gone a step further to introduce the digital strategist into the initial meetings before we even sign the client on, to make sure that the digital strategist feels like they're going to get along well with their potential new client. So, you know, John, right, you know, hitting the nail right on the head, I'll use the pun. You know, it is an interview process just as much for us as it is for them. So I definitely wanted to chime in on that.
That's right. So what are they again, real quick? What are the 4?
Well, so our company's core values for our employees is make dad proud, extreme ownership, always learn, and raise the bar.
Okay. And so that's a wonderful lesson for those out there, because I've often said that the family businesses, because people are so valuable to them, they're the best places to work. They're much better to work than government or nonprofits or corporations, and yet there's a reputation that it's the opposite, that, you know, these businesses are taking. No, it's people are so valuable. And so that whole focus on on really customers is really, really, really important. And I'm sure that's a learning, because most people don't understand that. So,
Yeah.
so John, do you similar kind of approach with customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So our core values, we have four as well. It's family, honesty, education, and community. And we base everything about our community. We have a similar interview process. I mean, for us, we're going to the homeowner's house. We're respecting their property, and we want to go through everything. Our goal is to educate on the entire process, explain to them what we feel that they need, how they can approach it, and what needs to be done. At the end of our consultation, our goal is for us, sometimes it's just not a good fit, but our goal is for them to understand everything that they need, whether they go with us or not. At least they're going to achieve what's right for them and their family, hopefully. Our goal is really just to go in there, and we mutually kind of figure out whether it's a good fit or not. And we usually know right then and there. We're not high pressure or anything like that. We're all about educating, but you could kind of tell, and they can too.
Yeah. So, John, to that point, Sandler sales training is something that I have always lived and died by. I had the fortune of doing that right out of college. I was part of President's Club for Sandler sales training, but there was always a saying that I love it is some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Right. So just not everybody is a fit for the business, and that's okay.
Right.
And, going into every meeting, expecting it to be a home run is setting yourself up for failure, and you're setting your team up for failure because you're, kind of letting everybody in the door rather than being, super picky. So I love that. Yeah, I agree with you, John.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the customer relationship not as a the customer as it's not about the transaction, it's about the relationship.
Right.
And I think that's so very different than the way a lot of people, look, okay, we're going to do your roof now. I mean, I'm not going to see you for another 6 years, so why do I care? Instead of this is a relationship, other people and so on. So talk a little more about that, because it's not intuitive for everybody to do it that way.
So yeah, for us, I mean, everything goes back to being organic and relationship building. There's this, again, the stereotype in the contracting industry is, okay, have this guy come look at it. Let's just, because we do roofing, let's consider the roof, right? All right, you have a roof leak, your roof's 25 years old or whatever it may be. Let me have somebody come out and look at it. And it's always, the thought is somebody gonna come out here and like try to screw me? Are they gonna try to get $80,000 on my roof? Happens all the time, especially if, unfortunately, with more elderly couples. But our goal is we go in there, we do the same thing every time. We go in there, we meet with the homeowner, we sit down, we learn their needs, we learn what's going on. Has it been leaking for a long time? Did it just start leaking? We explain, don't panic. We do this all the time. Here's what we can do to mitigate the leak now. Here's what we could do to fix it in the long run. Usually replace the roof. If it's a newer roof, then maybe we could try to repair it. Problem is, if it's a newer roof and we have to repair it, that means that the contractor probably did something wrong. So it spirals into this, there's further steps to that. But it's kind of in the back of everyone's mind because of the construction industry. Like, you call somebody in and it's like, all right, well, I got to talk to as many people I know. And you ask your neighbors, you ask your family, you ask their friends who they use. Hey, do you have a roofer? Do you have an electrician? Do you have somebody that you trust that does this? But for us, we have our process. Each and every time we go in there, talk to the homeowner, learn their needs, go up with the drone, show them what's going on, find out what's going on, come up with a solution. Pricing is all the same every single time. You put in this amount of square feet of roofing, this system, this shingle, there it is. It's all transparent. It's right in front of them for them. It's not like we're going back to the truck and like, oh, this is a nice house. This person doesn't seem like they know what they're doing. Let me, double the quote or something. And that's kind of in the back of people's minds. So yeah, we're all about relationships. We're all about being transparent. And we feel like because we're transparent, that helps us cultivate the relationships and branch on or branch out from there. There's no like sneaky sales tactic. As Joe mentioned,
so
like
John,
Sandler. Go ahead.
yeah, no, so while you're on that, again, for those folks that have had, because I know stories of people where somebody's come up to their house and said $61,000 because we have insurance, and the real cost was 16,000.
Yes.
So what should someone do? I mean, if maybe they're not in your area, they're down. I'm in Central Jersey. I'm in New Brunswick. How do they check to see if somebody's legit?
Do your research. It's all about being transparent. So nowadays, like, you go on our website, you go on our social media, you talk to anybody we've done work for, you ask your neighbors, get references, go online. There's so much information available online. You could kind of see who is open to showing what they do and who's not. For me, if you're transparent, like, we post all of our stuff pretty much. It's all out there. We explain you could see us behind the scenes in our process. To me, we're building trust right off the bat. I always recommend, even with us, right? Ideally, you would call us, we come in, we shake hands, we agree, and that's it. But I always tell people, get 3 opinions. Because I don't know if we're the first people in there or we're the third person in there. But 3 different opinions, at least your chances are higher that you're going to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about. And they might be more money, it might be $5,000 more, but there might be $10,000 worth of value that they're giving you. Just because they're not the cheapest person does not mean that they're the most expensive either. As long as the value's there and it's worth it, it could be a good fit.
Yeah. And, I go by the 3 R's: resources, references, or reviews and references. So go to your resources, check out Google, check out, go to their website, go to whatever resource they have out there, the companies that you're, assessing. And this is something we talk about a lot in the sales process with our clients is, people are not going to just get your name and call you. And if they are, you're fooling yourself if you don't think that they're still going to do some research. So go to the resources that they give you and have a look at who they are, have a look at how they do things, how do they present themselves online. That's usually a really good indicator. If they're putting their best foot forward online, they're likely going to put their best foot forward with your work. Reviews, right? So read the reviews, go on things like, in John's case, like Home Advisor, Google, social media, Facebook, right? And then references, right? So now you've gotten to the point where you've brought them in, you're considering them, ask them for references. I actually take it as a red flag when clients or prospects don't ask me for a reference, because I'm not really sure, one, if they're actually considering us, right? Because I don't know that I would invest in, somebody taking over my essential outward marketing if I wasn't getting a couple of references to make sure that we're the real deal. I also, Dale, I want to go back for a second. You guys talked about, when people bring you in, John was mentioning, a lot of the questions people will ask and looking for information. That this is the key to SEO, right? And this is the key to our SEO strategy, specifically for Blue Nail, right? Is answering questions that people have. So that way, when they go online and they Google, how can I tell if I need a new roof, right? And if they're in John's local area, we want them to be able to find John. We want them to be able to not only find John, but find the answer to their question, because they want to do their own research and they want to feel educated before they bring you in, right? So if they find a website that really educates them, makes them feel comfortable, makes them understand the process, and then gives them an opportunity to book an appointment with them, that's SEO. That's what SEO is about. Is it's getting Google to rank you, and it's getting people to actually convert once they're on the site to turn into a lead. That's the power of it. So John mentioned that before, and again, tying this back to ways that family-owned businesses, any business really, can help themselves, is answer questions for your potential clients on your website, because they're going to look for you. They're going to, maybe it's an attorney that they're searching the attorney's name, and then eventually they get into the website and they start reading about one of the practice areas, or a blog, or in John's case, it's they need a roofer and they hear Blue Nail, so they look them up. They're going to scour the website. We can track John's leads from the second they enter like the homepage because somebody searched a branded Blue Nail roofing. The average is between 3 and 5 pages that people will go deep before they actually fill out a form, right? And that's specifically on a branded search. So, people do their homework, and I think it's important that everybody needs to remember that no matter what industry you're in.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Dale, something that we do that people still argue with me about is we actually, a big thing for construction is yard signs, right? So people leave their sign out front that they're doing the job. We took our phone number off the yard sign about 3 years ago, and people would mention it to us all the time, like, hey, you forgot to put the phone number on there. How are people going to call you? Our goal is we don't want you to call us directly from the yard sign. I want you to recognize our brand. I want you to look us up, learn what we're about, see everything that we do. Because if you call us directly from that sign, you don't know us necessarily. Like, you haven't learned about us. You don't trust us. If you see us, like I get all the time, people say they see our yard signs everywhere. Once that happens, then they'll Google us, they'll find us, and like they're learning about us. They're learning to trust us because we're out there, like we're transparent with everything they do. We showcase our projects. I'd rather have you, after you've done your research and you know a little bit about us, because you're a warmer lead now, you kind of feel like you know us. So
well, what I love about this is that you're young entrepreneurs, very successful young entrepreneurs, and you aren't stuck in the past. And so those of us that are older than you have been around for a long time, and I see a lot of businesses do that. Well, we've always done it that way. We always done that. And then the phone numbers, as you're saying, most people aren't really going to call first. They're going to look you up at the website anyway. So
Right.
Phones don't mean that much, but so many people, and I think one of the messages for the audience is check yourself. Always in consulting, we say, does it still make sense? We've been doing this for 20 years. Does it still make sense? And you guys are really doing that. And so let me give you a question. Anita Rivers, who's one of the leaders at Fairleigh Dickinson University, says it is refreshing to hear business leaders with human values. Do you talk with college students, FDU, about the importance of having values? Have you had a chance to talk to some of the students about, because normally it's about make as much money as you can, but yeah, have you guys done that?
So personally, I have a couple of really great relationships that I've maintained since graduating that I still speak, each semester. I say quarterly, but I guess it would be semesters for school, to entrepreneur students and Silverman students and whatnot. And so yes, I have, and I always harp on values. I'm a big advocate for telling graduating seniors of college specifically, pay attention to what the core values are of the company that you're going to work for. The money, if they value people, they have good core values, the money will be there. The money, you will be paid. You want to find a place that's going to pay you what you're worth, not what they can afford. So look for core values, look for things that you resonate with you. And I'll compare it to something that John and I both know. We were in what I would consider maybe rival fraternities at the time. But, my fraternity, one of the big things for me, obviously I got to know the people and I got to know, what they like to do. And I saw myself, being part of the organization, but it was really the values of the fraternity that drew me in. Right. And it's very similar in everything. Is you want to make sure that those values line up with your own, because then you're going to be set up for success for the future. It's not just a stepping stone. It's not just a one-off opportunity, but it's somewhere you can see yourself and you really want to spend your time. So yes, to answer that question, I have spoken to, I don't know, probably since graduating, 200 or 300 students on this topic, and it's one that I spend a lot of time on.
Wonderful. So not to embarrass you, our friend Dennis had sent in the chat, Joe and John are two of the best business minds around, but they're even better people. Whenever I have a question regarding business or marketing, Joe is my first call. What John Hogan has done with his company, with their digital marketing, is absolutely amazing. And so the audience looks at them, they're young. These are really successful entrepreneurs. They're really, really successful. And so do you ever get that? You're both young. Do you ever get somebody saying, kind of treating you like, well, what do you know about business? You haven't been in it for 50 years. You ever get that?
I get that sometimes. I used to get it a lot more when I started the company, because I look like I'm 19, and I looked a lot younger 5 years ago. But I do get that. But what my approach to that is to just open my ears and listen. I've always had this philosophy that if somebody feels they can teach me something, or somebody feels they know something more than me, maybe they do, and I want to hear it, because I want to learn it and I want to understand it. And my ego used to get bruised quite often, and I decided that I just didn't care anymore, and I wanted to just learn and be a sponge. So for me personally, I haven't had to worry about that in recent years, but I definitely do from time to time get the person that's like, how are you running this business? You're so young. So
right.
John, how about you? Have you had that?
To be honest with you, it was a big mental hurdle first starting out. I would get it all the time, especially, people would call the office. I would have to, at the time I was going out there and doing every estimate. I would get out there and be like, who's this kid? What do you know? Especially construction, they're expecting somebody in their 50s with, a scuffed up shirt and whatever coming out. And it was tough at first, seriously, to the point that I thought about changing on my business card to like project consultant or something instead of owner. But then I remember there was one project in particular that was very specific. It was a very high-end, intricate project in Mendham. And when they chose to work with us and they told me why, I finally, the mental hurdle was gone. I started owning it, and it's been in the past ever since. So yeah, it hit hard. But I think it was more in my head than anything else. So.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think that head trash is what we use in Sandler. We to talk about like the stories you tell yourself as to like why things can't happen, or like why things aren't working. And that head trash is really like, it's a real thing. And, that's another thing I tell college students a lot, going back to that first question, is that, you don't psych yourself out. You're coming out of college. Nobody expects you to know everything about the field, right? What do they say? It's like 10,000 hours to be an expert, something like that, right? I think that's what the hours is. But I always say, like, ask questions, learn, but when somebody explains it to you and somebody teaches you how to do it, don't go back to them again and keep asking them to teach you over and over again, because you're not paying attention, right? Soak it up, absorb it, learn it. And, just like with John, after a while, we know we have a proven process of how we work, and we know we've built a good business. We know that we have great people. So I don't have to really worry anymore about and John, I don't know if you felt this way, but imposter syndrome, right? Like,
yeah.
You kind of just felt, I always felt like, am I doing this right? Am I supposed to be doing something different? Am I supposed to be doing better than I am now? And so, for me, I just, like I said, hasn't really been a thing in the past couple of years, but from time to time I definitely do hear it.
Well, one of the things that I've even counseled a lot of people when they're applying for a job is that actually there's some advantages in being underestimated. I've talked to so many people, looking for a job in business or other, where they say, well, I don't have the qualifications, and someone else has the perfect qualifications. So they walk in, they're high expectations. If you walk in and say, oh, you're young, what do you know about this stuff? And then you blow them away, that is actually a competitive advantage. So really, your mindset is so important, and people don't realize mindset is so key. So we're getting near the end. So as we look at, one of the things about, and not to even harp on the generation, that there's this mentality of let me scale my company so I can sell it. Let me get out of this business as quickly as possible. Both of you are really successful and you do that. How do you avoid that mentality? And I'm sure you have a lot of friends to say, hey, when are you going to sell it? When are you going to sell your business? I want to hear from both of you. How do you avoid that mentality and really look for long-term growth?
So I think that that's a difficult question to answer, because I think that every industry is a bit different. So our industry, we know that once you hit a certain threshold, you're going to need potentially need some outside help, whether it's being swallowed up by a company, whether it's acquiring another company, whether it's finding a venture capital company to invest in you so you can continue the growth. But there's going to come times at least in my business, where I know that that's going to be potentially a reality that I have to face. And I try not to pay too much attention to it. I'm not sitting here looking for this specific dollar figure payday that, I want to hit and get out. Like, that's not what I'm about. I, have built a business that, I want to grow and I want to scale, and I'm in growth mode, and that's for sure. But I built a business of people that I want to spend time with. Right. So like people that my barometer for who I hire is, would I go out and have a drink with this person? Could I sit for 2 hours and at a bar and talk and feel comfortable, right? So for me, not to get around your question, I don't really think about it too much, but I know at the same time that there may come a time where it's a reality that I have to do something for the existence of the company and for the future growth of the company.
Right. No, that's great. Great. John, what about you?
Yeah. So we've been approached before, but I have no interest in really selling. I mean, this is what we do. I love doing it. I mean, yes, we do roofing and siding, but I really see us as a company that affects the community. And that's ultimately what we want to do. I love being able to have, a platform to do that and make an impact. And yeah, I can't see us stopping anytime soon. I mean, we're too young to stop right now. So
can't stop,
yeah,
won't stop.
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I love doing what I do. I do want to continue growing and get more out of the day to day. That would be really helpful. But until then, no, I'm happy what I'm doing. I'm not looking to sell or be acquired or anything like that. I love doing this every day. So
you guys, your mentality, your entrepreneurial mentality has made it easy for you to pivot. So just even talking to you and getting to know you, you're willing to make a change as you need to. And so it doesn't matter how old the business is. As we enter the post-pandemic, hopefully, knock on wood, post-pandemic time, it's almost like businesses are new. They've pivoted. It's almost like the old businesses have to do things. Virtually everybody has to do things differently. So as you're looking going forward, you're both being successful. What advice do you have to those businesses, whether they're restaurants or whether they're, what kinds of things should they think about as they're going in from an SEO perspective or an operational perspective, as we get beyond the vaccines?
So you hit it on the head earlier, Dale. You said that, is this still working, right? You had a term that you used, but is this still working? And I know, knowing Dennis is here, I can say this. If a 75-year-old company can make changes in their business and continue to grow and continue to scale and grasp onto digital marketing and grasp onto all of the new tools and opportunities out there to grow their business, any business can do it, right? Because Dennis's company is a third generation business. They have really knocked it out of the park with the stuff that they've grabbed onto. And so what I would say is that, pay attention to if things are slowing down, or if you're seeing a real shift in the way that people are buying or people are acting when they're, interested in buying from you. Pay attention to that. Talk to people. We've had so many conversations with our clients, and in fact, prospects that we decided not to move forward with, or they decided not to move forward with us. Ask questions, right? Because you're going to learn so much from these people. And you're right, Dale, things have changed. Things have changed drastically. We're all running our businesses from Zoom virtually right now, right? But majority of us, all of our meetings, I haven't been to a real in-person meeting in over a year. So, in my case, right, that was a big change. And I needed to figure out how to make people the most comfortable when I was conducting these meetings, and I needed to figure out ways to engage people differently. So, we do virtual wine tastings with prospective clients and existing clients. We did a game night. We invited some clients to a team happy hour we had. We did a game night virtually. We played Hangman. It was kind of cool. But like things changed. So, I think that from that perspective, you have to talk to people, you have to see what's going on and be aware, and you can't just stick your head in the sand and say, no, everything is just the way it needs to be, and we need to keep doing it that way because we've always done it that way. Well, that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, wonderful, David. Now we're almost at time, but I have to ask this question, this SEO question, or this social media question, a source of annoyance for me, because before this thing, I send out on LinkedIn, which I like. I love LinkedIn. Twitter, which is okay, but Facebook, you put it on. You used to be able to when you put it on, unless they force you to try to buy ads so that you can reach other people. So their algorithm limits the amount of people that see stuff unless you buy an ad. Is that true, Joe?
Wrong guy to ask, John.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? It was Robert Schiff just asked a question.
And the Facebook, when you send out, you tell people this thing that it does. I have 5,000 personal friends on Facebook, and so if I send something for this, the algorithm prevents it from getting to most of those people. Is that true?
Oh man, that's some high level stuff there. I don't know. But you got to talk to
I've had
Mark Zuckerberg about that.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I have, it wasn't always the case, and so they've, the social media is changing, and I guess the final message is that why you need SEO and other things is because the algorithms change all the time, right? And so you think I figured out Google, they'll switch it on you. So I really encourage each of you to at least talk to an SEO, hopefully Joe and John, and get some insights. So I want to thank you all. We always try to end, right at 1. It's 1:01 now. This has been a great discussion. I've learned a lot, and I think the audience has too. So thank you both very, very much. And we will definitely be in touch, and we definitely want to do some things at FDU to really get the alumni entrepreneurs together so that we can continue to grow entrepreneurship at FDU. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.